This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
这是我。
This is me.
This is me.
And this is us.
Everybody, and welcome to another episode of This Is Us, where I give you guys the opportunity to meet visually impaired and blind people in the community who are bringing awareness and really showing the world that, we can do more than what you think we can. So today, I have the pleasure of having a good friend of mine on, Miss Velma Benard. Velma, say hey to the people.
Hey everyone, nice to meet you.
So today, Miss Benard actually has a lot of stuff that I can't wait for her to tell as far as her story and what she's been through. So, like always, let's just go ahead and get those formalities out of the way. So first up, Miss Velma, tell us your name, your age, and where you're from.
Well, my name is Velma Benard. I am 50 and I am from the state of Texas. Technically, I was born in the Virgin Islands. We moved to Texas and I've been here ever since.
Oh, the Virgin Islands. Look, is it as nice as they say it is in the Virgin Islands?
It's beautiful. Hey.
So we got that. Now, your visual impairment. What causes it? How long have you been dealing with it? And exactly how would you describe your vision?
I was born with glaucoma and cataracts. Mm-hmm. So ever since I came into this world, I've had a visual issue. I had surgeries to remove the cataracts when I was young. And beyond that, I wore glasses and contacts. I guess it wasn't 20/20 vision, but to me, it was my 20/20 vision compared to where I'm at now. So as a kid, like I said, I wore glasses, contacts. I was able to read, print, walk around without any assistance and so forth. Couldn't see long distance, and I never was able to drive like most teenagers were.
Okay. And then what actually caused it? Was it the sorry, I don't know why I must have missed it. Did you say it was the cataracts that caused it, or
cataracts and glaucoma?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you had to describe exactly how you see currently to somebody who maybe didn't know exactly what glaucoma and cataracts can cause, how would you describe it?
Well, currently, I have no vision at all in my left eye, but that's due to something else we'll talk about later on.
Okay.
And in my right eye, I still do not see long distance at all. My vision has diminished a lot to when I was younger, and also that's due to, the situation that we'll discuss later on. But as of right now, I can see. I wouldn't say it's perfect vision at all. It's not the worst. I can still see colors. I can see people's faces as long as they're close enough. If I go to a restaurant, there's no reading off of a menu for me,
Okay. And then, last but not least, for those of us who are viewing and are totally blind like myself, can you actually give us a physical description of yourself?
Of course, Dom. Actually, I am 5'2". I am medium skin, chocolate toned.
Okay.
Right now, I have in long crochet braids. I am wearing a red dress. I have a nice round face, bright eyes, a beautiful smile. I have my mama's nose that runs in her family.
Okay.
I'm just beautiful all around,
all right.
Inside and out.
Right. Well, I will definitely say, Miss Velma, you are probably the first person who has been on this show so far that has given the best description that I've ever seen. I mean, and that's nothing to anybody else on here, but you've definitely painted a picture for me. So you definitely get the most descriptive award so far for This Is Us.
Yay!
So, like we always do, is going to go ahead and get down to the nooks and crannies of this conversation. So, you talked earlier about really starting your visual journey kind of at a really young age. And one of the things that I actually wanted to ask is I've seen this conversation on a lot of the blind communities on different social media platforms where they ask, which one is harder, starting your visual journey as a child or having to lose your vision later on as you become an adult? And I feel like you kind of are somewhere in the middle. So I was really wondering what your perspective is on that.
For me personally, I miss the vision that I had before. More of my vision loss that I have now. Because like I said, to me, it was my version of 2020 compared to what it was. Mentally, it's a challenge, losing vision when you've had it, whether it was, perfect vision or what you would consider your perfect vision.
Correct.
So I think for me, losing vision gradually is harder mentally because you have to deal with it over and over again. I know a lot of people think it's better in some sense because it gives them time to adjust and learn something new. And from that aspect, yes, I would say that is a plus to gradually losing it. You get a chance to adjust and learn some new techniques along the way.
Right.
But the mental part of it is harder to me because you always have to mentally readjust, and it knocks you off your feet every time you realize your vision changes.
Yeah. It's funny, me and you were having a conversation a while back, and I don't know if you remember saying this, but it dawned on me when you said it. I was like, she's so right. Essentially, and my standpoint on the argument or the debate back and forth is really, I feel like both of them have drawbacks and, their, advantages. But really going through the vision loss process is like going through the grieving process. You are actually losing something. Yeah. And it never dawned on me that, that's actually what it was until you actually mentioned it. I just thought that was really profound to hear you say that.
It is. And when you think about it, Dom, somebody who loses it gradually over time has to grieve over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Where for me personally, I'm thinking, if it goes in an instant, yes, you grieve, and you will grieve that process just the same. But there's not another grieving process to continually go over and over again.
Right.
Everybody will have their days of being depressed about it, but I just think for me personally, gradually, continuously losing it brings you more depressive days because you'll be on this high of, oh my gosh, everything is looking great, and then you wake up one morning and boom, your eyes are more blurry, or you notice you're not seeing something the same, and then it's like, oh my God, I have to do this again.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned earlier, kind of in a roundabout way, having to deal with what you consider to be your version of 20/20 vision. And I know you also mentioned something about like having to wear glasses and contacts and stuff like that growing up as a kid. What was that like, having to really kind of start your vision journey at such an early age?
I don't think I knew any different because it was just something I always had to do. Like when I say I had surgeries as a kid, I can remember being in the hospital as a baby, and I don't even know how old I am because it's a vision that's in my head. I can see myself in the hospital. I know there were, bars, which are really like the crib bars or whatever, that were up, and they seemed so tall, but I was a kid, so they would seem so tall, and I remembered being in there and sucking on a bottle. That vision has stayed in my head as a kid, and I know that's not something my parents told me. That's something that I honestly remember. So I've had surgery since a little child, so I've had to deal with it, so I don't know any different. I remember wearing glasses, and oh my God, I had these ugly glasses. They were like cat eye glasses, And I remember kids picking on me because I had them, and I had one sister that would always fight people for me. So
look, shout out to the sister.
on to them sisters. And I have 4 of them.
All right now.
But, I remember being picked on for wearing glasses, as a young child. I think I was probably maybe in, kinder, first grade, somewhere around there. And then, as times change, I had better glasses. But then I switched to contact lenses. Oh, my God. My dad, bless his heart. I lost, I don't know how many pairs of contact lenses.
Oh, wow.
Because, when I first got them, they were, I don't know if you've ever wore contact lenses, but, they had hard contact lenses and then soft contact lenses.
Right.
Well, with the vision I had, I could not do the soft contact lenses. So I had to do the hard ones. And I remember one time, we must have been walking to the library, me and my sisters, and one of them literally flew out my eye. The wind was that strong.
Oh, wow.
So I know I lost a good several pair of those, and if I remember correctly, I only wore one because my right eye was always the stronger eye, which it still is to this day, and my left eye was always the weaker one. So, yes, always.
Okay, so it's especially so obviously you said, you dealt with, being a child and having to deal with the cat eye glasses and stuff like that. Knowing now, and I know that you're probably in a different position now, being an adult and, going through your blindness journey. What's one thing that you're seeing as far as advancements with, eyewear and contacts and people dealing with visual impairments that they're doing now that they definitely didn't do back in the past?
Well, of course, they have cooler glasses, I mean, you have these like Gucci glasses, and, all the name brands, so you can be fancy with them. Everybody wears glasses. Some people have like a slight visual impairment. They might be nearsighted, farsighted. Their eyes are not like ours,
Right.
So everybody's wearing glasses, so it's not such a big deal.
Yes.
I used to be a teacher, and of course kids don't want to wear their glasses, and then I had kids that it didn't bother them. They just put their glasses on and kept going.
Right. Yeah, and that's actually the point that I was trying to get you to say too, because it was like I can remember being a kid, and I wore glasses too at a pretty early age, and just thinking, it's like the worst thing that could ever happen to me. And I'm finding that I don't know if the trend now, or maybe if they're a little bit more acceptable. Again, I'm not as young, as I used to be. But I'm assuming as kids now, it just seems like, I know there was a phase where kids actually wore the frame. They didn't even have the lenses of the glasses in, but they would walk around with the empty frames. And I guess on some level now, glasses have now become a very distinct fashion statement.
They are. I mean, all because they have the name brand frames,
Mm-hmm. So it's funny because this is why I love talking to you, Velma, because you always lead me right into my next topic. So you guys may not have caught it, but Velma actually was a teacher. Now, before we say anything, I definitely, if I had a hat on, I would take my hat off to you. But figuratively, I'm going to take my hat off for you because my admiration, love, and respect always goes out to the teachers of the world, because you guys do a job that many of us could not do. And especially with a lot of the things that are taking place in the world today, you guys have definitely shown passion and what it is that you guys are there for and how you want to educate the generations coming up. So you definitely get a round of applause from me.
Thank you.
How has it been being a teacher, more importantly, a visually impaired teacher?
So I started teaching back in 2005. So 2005, 2006 was my first year. And I had the sight that I always had, And so no problems, easy, can do everything. By 2009, 2010, my eyesight changed to basically close to what it is today.
Okay.
And so I know you wanted to talk about the other topic later, so can I just mention that topic?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
It's your world.
Okay, so My vision changed because of the fact that I ended up going through breast cancer and going through chemo. When I was close to my last treatment, my vision started changing. And so, once that happened, of course, I still had to figure out, hey, how am I going to take care of myself? There's still bills to be paid and all of that stuff. And so when I was going to college to get my teaching degree, I went through the state of Texas Commission for the Blind, which is now called TWC.
Okay.
And so basically, when you're blind, I know here in the state of Texas, they give you a tuition waiver, which means you don't have to pay for college if you're going to a public school. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I called the counselor that I used to have and found out that counselor no longer was a counselor and ended up with somebody else. So I explained the situation, and because I was losing so much vision, I ended up, I really didn't know what I was going to do. So I called the number that I knew to call, and that turned out to be like nothing but a blessing from God, because those were the people I needed to call. And before I knew it, I got my CCTV, because I had lost contrast. So, for my CCTV, I was able to put books and documents and paperwork under that to be able to grade and read and different things like that. Okay. I got Zoom Tech, which is a screen reader, and it has voiceover. I never used the voiceover part. I would just magnify it. And I had to change the background. So, because I lost my contrast, the background had to be black. The fonts had to be white, and I can make it as large as I need to.
Okay.
So that is how I was able to still teach. Plus, because I was visually impaired, and that put me on, under the ADA, I asked for an aide in my classroom. Okay. And at first, the principal at the time told me no, but magic happened. And God spoke, and I got my aide in my classroom. So my aide was my extra pair of eyes. So she was able to see everything that was going on that I may have missed,
Okay.
But the one thing that I never missed was what was going on, in the sense of I can hear everything. I would be in the midst of teaching at the front of the room, but I can tell you every conversation that was happening around the room. It used to shock my kids, because I'll be at the kidney table teaching kids something, a small group of kids, and there'll be kids in one corner, and they'll be saying something that they shouldn't say, and I'll be like, "What did you just say?" Like, "You heard me?" Yes, I did. And I suggest you apologize.
I know that's right.
I know that our hearing don't get better per se, because it's, our hearing is our hearing, but it's more enhanced because you're relying on other senses, because you're losing something else, and so that came in very handy for me as a teacher.
Yes. It's funny that you mentioned that. People always ask that question, like, "Oh, since you've lost your sight, do you have like superhuman senses?" And I'm like, "No, I can't hear 3 miles down the street." But it is like you said. My personal belief is that because we rely on our vision, or the everyday person, air quotes, relies on their vision so much, a lot of times we tend not to use our other senses to their full capability. So like you said, our hearing doesn't change. It's just the fact that now, because the vision is no longer there, now we have to start using those other senses to their full capability. So
yes.
You said something, and I actually wanted to kind of expand upon that. So the age group that you typically taught, or the grade, exactly how, what age group were you teaching?
When I started losing my vision and needed a CCTV, technically I was a 4th grade teacher then, before I got the CCTV. Okay. And then the principal, the one that, didn't want to move heaven and earth for me.
Right.
I ended up in 3rd grade. So I started my journey with my CCTV in third grade, but I started the journey with my aide when she moved me to 2nd grade. So when I was teaching 2nd graders, which are like, age 7 to 8. So I had my CCTV, my Zoom tech, and I had my aide in second grade. So I stayed in second grade for 5 years. Then I kind of journeyed my way back up to third and fourth along the way. And the kids, the majority of the kids, there might have been one here or there. They were really good. They didn't try to take advantage of the fact that, yes. And it's because I had already built a really good relationship with them. I made it a point to always build relationships with my kids. Right. And so because I built that relationship with them, if there was that one or two that kind of was trying to be sneaky, oh, you best believe somebody was telling it.
Right. And that's always good too, because especially at an early age like that, you kind of want to make sure that you have that connection with those kids so that they can kind of respect exactly what it is that's taking place.
That's it.
So to kind of turn it on a serious note here, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, what are some of your thoughts about some of the things that have been taking place with the shootings and the schools and stuff like that?
Dom, that has been very hard for me, especially the last one that happened. Those are babies.
Yeah.
And you send your kids to school and you expect them to come home. And at the age of 10, when they don't, it's heartbreaking. And it was very hard for me to watch that and know I taught kids at that age. And we practiced those drills also. I can tell you, we put the kids against the cubbies, had them put their knees up to their chest and wrap their arms around their knees. Sat there for a good 20, 30 minutes when they had those drills. As, high school kids would come in and practice. So they would actually have those little, top guns that would make noises, and they would bang on the windows and yell and scream. And, kids would actually be scared, even though they knew it was a reenactment, And, I was at least able to reassure them that, hey, this is just pretend in case anything would happen. But, oh my goodness, for the kids that actually have to go through that, it breaks my heart, Dom.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart. And, the teachers that died, I'm pretty sure they died trying to cover their kids and protect them, because I would have done the same thing. Because, they become yours.
Yeah.
When they are yours. I always call my kids my babies. We always had family meetings whenever we had to talk about something. When we shared, it was always family time. You don't treat your family members that way. So I made my classroom like a family unit. So I could not imagine going through what, these schools have gone through with the mass shootings and losing one of my babies.
Yeah, we got to do something, Ms. Velma. We definitely got to do something.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So, going on ahead and going on to our next topic, you mentioned actually having to go through the battle with breast cancer. Now, this is something that I know is not to be taken lightly. I've talked to some breast cancer survivors, and to hear some of their journey, again, same thing like I said with the teachers, my hat goes off to you guys, much respect. I can only imagine what the journey is like. So give us a little bit of a glimpse into your world. How was your journey now at this point when you were teaching and you found out that you had breast cancer?
I found out during my first year, I found out during my second year. Almost at the end of the year, we were on spring break, and I was doing a self-breast examination and found my own lump. And I was 35 at the time. And to be very honest with you, I shouldn't have found it. By the time it was discovered, I should have been dead and gone. So, they first thought I was at the first stage. Really, I was more like at the fourth stage. And so that journey began. I had to go through the surgeries, had to go through radiation, had to go through chemo, lost my hair 3 times. But the whole time I taught. I did not quit teaching. I went to work, and going to work was my lifesaver. It kept my mind off of what I was going through. I had a wonderful mentor who has now passed on, and she gave me a lot of wisdom. You know, when you get to this part, when your hair starts falling out, just shave it. Don't look at it falling out, because, you know, she said that would just depress me. So first hair started falling out, shaved. We went on, shaved it. You know, get a video game, fight something else besides the cancer.
Yeah,
Did it.
yeah.
Got myself a puppy, you know, to raise. You know, sister refused to let me wear dark colors, you know, black, because, you know, a lot of people, you know, associate wearing all black clothes or something with depressed. So I had to be bright and cheery, you know, in my colors. And, you know, I had a lot of people that were there for me. My sisters, my best friends, you know, my school family even showed up and showed out for me. You know, I had to even appreciate the principal at the time, because I had to leave every day for radiation. Literally, I would drop my kids off at PE, music or art, during my conference time. I would tell them I'll be back, and I would, you know, somebody would take me, because I don't drive, from school and to the radiation center, and I would get radiation, head straight back to campus. I would either be walking in the building at the time the kids were being let out of music art or PE, or, you know, I would be meeting them back in the hallway when they were heading to the room. Wow. I never, you know, we never stopped anywhere to get a Starbucks or anything like that. You know, I'm thinking back, wow, why didn't I take time out to get a Starbucks? I deserved it. But, you know, I deserved the treat. But, I mean, you know, I was just dedicated to what I was doing. And so I'm a person that always handled my business, you know. And so I did what needed to be done. And I you know, now I look back at it and I'm like, why didn't I take off? You know, and I'm glad I didn't. You know, I followed everything Miss Moore taught me to do. And she was right. You know, I can even tell you, I started my journey here in the state I live in, and it spread from one side to the next. So we ended up at MD Anderson. If anybody knows, you know, one of the biggest cancer centers in Houston, one of the best actually, because people from all around the world come to MD Anderson. And I remember my first visit there, 2 of my sisters went and my best friend with me. And they were so excited about being at MD. And I remember we were sitting at Olive Garden afterwards, and they were chit-chatting about, oh, don't you feel great about being there? And aren't you excited? And all I kept thinking to myself was, it's okay. You know, because I'd already been through some of the chemo treatments, and I knew what they did to me, you know, and I didn't realize what a difference MD Anderson was going to make in my life. And, you know, they did. They made a huge difference, and I would tell anybody, if you ever find yourself with cancer, go to whatever your largest cancer center is if you can, because you want to be the best of the best, if at all possible.
Wow, to hear you tell that story, the first thing that sticks out in my mind, and again, this is no judgment for anybody else's journey and stuff like that, but you kind of mentioned it. When I tell you, it was literally like you were so determined that nothing was going to stop you. To hear you say, you know, you were literally going to take treatments in the middle while the kids were going to have class, and then you made sure that you were back so that you could continue teaching them. To me, when I hear stuff like that, it shows me like the focus and determination that you had to keep on going. So again, this is exactly why, like I said earlier, I definitely take my hat off to you. You know, and definitely big ups. And I know that there are people who may be going through this journey or looking at this journey as a possibility for them in the future. So just any words of encouragement that you could give them, just to let them know that, you know, it's not a death sentence.
You know what? You're not in it alone at all. Find a support group or find a friend, somebody that you can talk to. You definitely cannot hold in what you're feeling, because you need every ounce and strength and energy that you have to fight what you're going through. So don't hold on to anything. I would tell you definitely take somebody with you when you go to your appointments, because they start talking a whole bunch of stuff. And you know what? Tune out. You don't want to hear no more, tune out, because that's what that person is going to be there for. They're going to be your note taker. They're going to be able to fill you in later on when you're ready to listen. But there's no problem in you tuning out when you're at the doctor's. Me, I was not like that. I had 50 million different questions. My sister would tell me, you ain't even at that stage yet. Well, I just want to know what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But there were times I tuned out, which was fine, because you need to love yourself. And that is something else I'll tell you. Love yourself. Do things that you enjoy during that time, because you definitely need to love on yourself and allow other people to love on you as well.
Yeah, I love how you said earlier, shout out to your mentor, about the fight something else other than the cancer with the fighting game. I love fighting games. And it's funny because I didn't even recognize that, okay, maybe that's what I was doing. Maybe I was taking out those feelings on those bad characters that I was fighting in those video games. And it's a really, she definitely gave you some nice jewels of encouragement, tips. And yeah, she definitely was a godsend. So
she was.
Yeah. So we've come to the great part that I like to call, Ask Dominic Anything You Want. So I always give the person who I'm interviewing the opportunity to ask me whatever it is, and I'm coming with complete, utter realness and truth. So have at it. What would you like to ask Blind Justice?
So, Dom, being that it is Pride Month,
yes,
tell me how you feel about that.
So for me personally, I've gotten to a place in my life where I am proud of being homosexual. I do know the quote unquote stipulations and the feelings and the judgment that comes along with it. But I think at a certain time throughout your journey, being a part of the LGBTQ lifestyle, I feel like you get to a place of realization that this is who you are and you're proud of that. Where I'm at now, when I tell you maybe a week or two ago, I was on Amazon ordering this and rainbow shirts and rainbow cell phone cases. So I'm definitely at a point now to where it's just, this is who I am. And recognizing that me being proud of who I am doesn't always mean that everybody's gonna like it. But it does mean that I can still live in my truth and still be able to stand proudly along with those who also stand proudly and say, hey, we're here and we're not going anywhere. And so, yeah.
I think the biggest takeaway I'll take away from what you said is love yourself.
Amen.
Amen.
And I'll again, like I said, not to say anything about anybody else's journey. For me, it took me a long time to get to that point. And even still to this day, to be completely transparent, I still struggle with that a lot when it comes to different aspects of who I am and what I bring to the table. So I definitely would say I think the learning how to truly, truly love yourself is always going to be a journey. But I mean, hey, there's no other Dominic, so I should be proud of that, right?
That's right. We don't want another one like you.
That's right. So, all right, before we close this on out, is there anywhere where the people who want to get to know more about you, support you, or come see exactly what it is you're putting out there, where can your followers come and follow you at?
You can find me on TikTok, and I am Queen, QUEENVVEE, so that's QUEENVEE_21. And if anybody has breast cancer and you want to reach out and ask me a question, need a little bit of support, you're more than welcome to drop something in my comments and I will answer you, and try my best to be there for you as well. I haven't shared my story yet on TikTok, but I will be doing that. So you'll be able to hear more of my story because I only gave Dom just a little piece of my story.
Yeah, you guys, she definitely has a lot more to share. So you have officially made it through the This Is Us process. Congratulations, Velma.
Thank you, Dominic.
So, as always, you guys, thank you for tuning in, and we'll be talking to you soon.